The city of Toa was noisy, bright, and always busy. People rushed to work, taxis honked, and market women shouted prices. But somewhere in the middle of all that noise was a little shop that stayed very quiet. It was called Lara's Stitches. The shop didn't look special. The door was old. The sign was fading. But everyone in Toa knew that Lara's Stitches was magic. Why? Because if you gave Madame Lara your cloth in the morning, your dress or suit would be ready before sunset. And it wasn't just fast, it was perfect. No mistakes. No wrong sizes. Every stitch was clean. Every button in place. It was like the clothes came from heaven. But there was one rule. A very strict rule. No one is allowed to try on clothes inside my shop, Madame Lara always said. You collect it and go. If it doesn't fit, bring it back. But don't wear it here. Nobody knew why. Some people thought she was shy. Others said it was for spiritual reasons. But no one dared ask. Madame Lara was not young but not too old. Her hair was always tied in a black scarf, and her eyes looked tired but kind. She hardly smiled. She never gossiped. She worked alone and never opened her back room to anyone. But her hands were golden. They moved like water. Her scissors cut with no noise. Her needle danced. Even when there was no electricity, she worked by candlelight, and the clothes still came out glowing. People whispered that she had a gift. Some said it was God. Others said it was something not from this world. One Saturday morning, a young woman named Sarah walked into the shop. She was kind, polite, and always brought jollof rice for Madame Lara after church. Lara liked her. She reminded her of a daughter she once lost. Sarah had brought a friend with her. Her name was Emily. Emily had just returned from abroad. She was bold, loud, and curious. She didn't believe in all the village stories. Ghosts? Spirits? She thought they were silly tales for children. Wow, Emily said, walking into the shop and touching the walls. So this is the famous Lara's Stitches? Doesn't look like much. Madame Lara's eyes lifted from her sewing. Please don't touch the fabrics, she said gently. Sorry, Emily muttered, rolling her eyes. Sarah gave her friend a warning look, then turned to Lara. Please, my birthday is next week. I want something red like fire. I want to shine. You will shine, Lara said softly. Come in 3 days. As Sarah and Emily turned to leave, Emily whispered, I heard you don't allow people to try on clothes here. Why? Madame Lara's needle paused midair. Because rules protect us, she said. Her voice was low, like the whisper of wind before a storm. And when we break them, things fall apart. Emily laughed. What's the worst that could happen? A needle curse me? Sarah quickly pulled her out of the shop, embarrassed. 3 days passed. Sarah came with Emily again to collect her dress. The red gown was glowing, so beautiful it made Sarah cover her mouth in shock. It's perfect, she cried. Thank you, Ma. But Emily's eyes were shining with mischief. What if it's too tight? Just try it quickly. 1 second. No, Sarah whispered. She said. But Emily had already pulled the curtain near the back room and stepped inside. Emily, please don't, Sarah shouted. But it was too late. Emily slipped into the dress, smiling in front of the dusty mirror. The gown hugged her body like it was made of her skin. Then something changed. The mirror started to shake. The air grew cold. A strange wind blew into the shop, even though the windows were closed. Then Madame Lara screamed. Sarah ran to the back room. Emily had frozen, her eyes wide, her hands trembling. I didn't mean to. Madame Lara's hands were bleeding. Her fingers turned black. Her veins rose to her skin like snakes. She fell to the floor, crying in pain. Sarah knelt beside her, crying. What's happening? The walls of the shop began to crack. The sewing machine broke on its own. Fabrics caught fire and turned to ash without a spark. Emily backed away, terrified. "I didn't know, I'm sorry." But Laura wasn't looking at her. Her eyes were fixed on the ceiling. "No one must try on clothes here," she whispered. That was the agreement. That night, Sarah stayed by Madame Lara's bedside. They were in her tiny room above the broken shop. Her hands were wrapped in white cloth, soaked with herbs and oil. But the blackness kept spreading. Sarah held her gently. "Please tell me the truth. What agreement? What did you mean?" Lara closed her eyes. Her voice came out like a soft wind. "When I was young, I had nothing. I couldn't sew. I was slow. My parents were poor. Then one night I cried to the stars. I said, 'Please, I just want to be good at something. Let me have a gift.' Something heard me." Sarah's heart pounded. "What do you mean, something?" "A spirit," Madame Lara whispered. "It came to me in a dream, half human, half shadow. Said, 'I will give you the gift. But you must make a promise.'" "What promise?" Sarah asked, gripping her hand tighter. "No one must ever try on the clothes in your shop. The shop must stay quiet. And you must tell no one about the pact." Tears rolled down Lara's cheeks. "I kept the promise. For 30 years. But today the rule was broken." That night Sarah couldn't sleep. Outside, the wind howled like wolves. A voice whispered her name through the trees. She shut the windows and held a Bible, but the cold wouldn't leave the room. She knew this was not an ordinary curse. Emily had left the city in fear. She sent a message that she was sorry and couldn't face what she had caused. Sarah didn't blame her. But she couldn't leave Madame Lara like this. Something in her heart told her she had to make this right. She had to fight. The next morning, Sarah visited 3 places. 1, the hospital, where doctors said Lara's hands were dying and they couldn't stop it. 2, a traditional healer, who said the spirit was angry and wouldn't forgive easily. 3, a church where the pastor prayed over her, warning her, "The spirit that gave the gift is jealous. It wants her back." But prayer and faith can fight anything. Sarah returned to Lara and held her hands. They were now cold, black, and shaking. But Sarah looked into her eyes and said, "We will fight this. I'm not leaving you. I believe God can heal you. You helped me shine. Now it's my turn to help you rise." And for the first time in days, Madame Lara smiled. Just a little. The shop was no longer a place of beauty. All the mirrors had cracked. The sewing machine was broken into pieces. The fabrics that once danced in colors now looked dull, gray, and lifeless. And in the upstairs room, Madame Lara lay on her bed, her hands still dying. Sarah had not left her side. Every day she cooked, cleaned, and prayed beside the weak woman who had once made the city shine. The city of Tailor didn't know the truth. Many people thought Lara had traveled or closed the shop for repairs. Only Sarah knew that a dark spirit was slowly pulling the life out of her. But Sarah refused to give up. Sarah had grown up in church, but now she prayed with a fire she had never known before. She fasted, cried, and knelt on her knees until they hurt. But the spirit didn't go away. It was strong, proud, and angry. Some nights, when the candles went out, Sarah could feel something cold watching from the corners of the room. One night, Madame Lara woke up shaking. "It's calling me," she whispered. "It wants my soul." "No," Sarah cried, holding her tight. "We won't let it win." On a quiet morning, Sarah heard about an old healer across the river named Mama Grace. They said she could speak with spirits and understand hidden things. Sarah didn't waste time. She crossed the water in a canoe and walked through thick trees until she found the tiny hut. Mama Grace was old, her face full of deep lines like a map. Her eyes were sharp but kind. You've come for someone who touched a gift that was not theirs, she said before Sarah could even speak. Sarah nodded. Please, Ma, I need your help. Mama Grace lit a small fire and dropped 7 leaves into it. The smoke turned blue. She made a deal with a jealous spirit, the old woman said. It gave her speed and power, but at a cost. She kept the rules for years. But once the rule was broken, the spirit came to collect. Can she be saved? Sarah asked. Yes, Mama Grace replied. But not by herbs alone. You must speak to the spirit. You must go to its altar. Sarah's heart skipped. Where is the altar? Mama Grace looked deep into the fire. In the forest behind the city. Deep where trees grow like hands. You must go at night. Take nothing but a mirror, a Bible, and something made by Lara's hand. Sarah swallowed hard. She was afraid. But she would go. That night, Sarah walked alone into the forest behind TOA. The moon was full, but the sky had no stars. Owls cried. Leaves rustled. Strange shadows moved between trees. She walked for hours until she found it. A small, cracked stone table surrounded by black candles that never melted. And there, standing tall and dark, was the spirit. It had no clear face, just smoke with glowing red eyes. Its voice sounded like 10 people speaking at once. You dare come before me, it said. Sarah's knees shook, but she held the Bible close. I came for Lara. Please let her go. She broke the rule. The deal is broken. She belongs to me now. No, Sarah said, placing the mirror on the altar. She didn't break it. Someone else did. She kept her promise for years. The spirit hissed. Trees shook. The wind grew wild. But she allowed it to happen. She failed to protect the secret. Now she will lose everything. Sarah took out a red scarf Lara had once sewn for her. She gave me this for free. She helped me when I was nobody. Please take me instead. There was silence. Then the spirit laughed. You love her more than yourself? Yes. The spirit leaned forward. That is dangerous. Suddenly the forest went quiet. Even the wind froze. Then Sarah opened her Bible and began to pray out loud. Her voice shook at first, but as she prayed, it grew stronger. The spirit screamed, and its shadowy arms rose like smoke trying to grab her. The mirror on the altar glowed. The Bible began to flutter, pages turning on their own. Sarah prayed harder. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. You have no right over her. The pact is broken, but she is forgiven. A loud crack sounded from the sky. Lightning flashed. Candles went out. The spirit let out a loud cry, like thunder, and vanished into the ground. Sarah woke up on the floor near the altar. The sun was rising. Her body hurt, but her heart was strong. She ran back to the city, dirt on her face, the red scarf still in her hand. When she reached Madame Lara's room, she found her sitting up, awake. Sarah, her voice was dry but steady. Sarah rushed to her side. And then she saw it. Madame Lara's hands were healing. The black color had faded. Her fingers were pink again. The skin was soft, like a baby's. She could move them without pain. You came back for me, Lara whispered. Yes, Sarah said, tears falling. They held each other and cried. Curse was broken. Days passed. The sun returned to TOA. Madame Lara got stronger. Her hands became even better than before. She could sew again, but slower this time. The more gentle, the more careful. Sarah suggested something new. Let's reopen the shop together. But this time, no secrets. No fear. No old rules. Madame Lara smiled. Yes. It's time to build something new. They painted the walls, cleaned the floors, and bought a new sewing machine. Sarah learned how to sew too. She wasn't fast, but Laura taught her with love. Soon the shop was busy again. People loved the new Lara stitches. And this time they were allowed to try on clothes. But no one ever disrespected the shop again. 'Cause everyone felt that something powerful once lived there. And still watched, quietly. Far away from the bright city of Toa was a small, quiet village called Aruba. People of Aruba were poor. Many houses had mud walls and leaking roofs. Children played in dusty streets, and old women sat under trees telling stories of the old days. Life was hard. Water was far. Food was small. But the people had strong hearts. In this village lived a man named Edward. Edward was tall, dark-skinned, and always smiling, even though he had little. He worked on a piece of land that didn't grow much. Sometimes the sun would burn his crops. Other times the rain would wash them away. People in the village laughed at him. "Edward, go and find real work. You still digging that useless land? Your back will break before you find anything good." But Edward never replied. He just smiled and kept digging. He believed something good would happen one day. In the same village lived a young woman named Anna. She was an orphan. Her parents had died in a fire when she was just 10. Since then, she lived with her auntie, who treated her like a servant. Anna knew how to sew, but her clothes didn't sell. The villagers said her hands brought bad luck. "She's cursed," some whispered. "That's why her parents died." Anna heard the words, but she said nothing. Every night she prayed, "God, just one person to love me. Just one reason to keep going." That person was Edward. Edward noticed Anna one market day, sitting under an umbrella with her small sewing table. She had sewn a green wrapper that looked like leaves in the rain. He bought it, not because he needed it, but because he saw pain in her eyes. "Your hands are not cursed," he said gently. "They just haven't been blessed yet." That day, Anna smiled for the first time in weeks. Their friendship grew like a quiet song. People talked, insulted them, warned Edward to stay away from the cursed girl, but he didn't listen. One hot evening, Edward looked at her and said, "Let's marry." Anna gasped. "Even if the village mocks us?" He nodded. "Let them laugh. Love is louder." They married under a mango tree. No choir. No cake. Just 2 hearts and a small Bible. The villagers laughed. A poor man marries a cursed girl. They will eat sand for dinner. This one will end in tears. But Edward and Anna didn't care. They moved into a small hut made of sticks and mud. Every morning, Edward dug his land. Every evening, Anna sewed clothes for people who never paid on time. But they were happy. Together, they were stronger. One afternoon, as the sun burned bright and birds flew low, Edward dug into the hard soil with his rusty hoe. Suddenly, clink! The hoe hit something hard. He knelt, brushed the dirt away with his fingers, and gasped. It was a stone. But not just any stone. It was clear, and it sparkled in the sun like fire and glass. He ran to Anna, holding it up. "See this? It's not just a stone." Anna's eyes widened. "It's a diamond." They ran to the old chief of the village, who brought out a magnifying glass and nodded slowly. "This is real," he said. "Very real." The news spread like fire in dry grass. The same villagers who mocked them now bowed their heads in shame. Edward sold the diamond in the city. He didn't just buy a car or big clothes, he bought land, tools, and machines. He built a small factory. He gave Anna a big space for her sewing. He even fixed the village well so everyone could get water. They built a beautiful house, not too loud, not too proud. And in every corner there were photos of their old life, the mud hut, the green wrapper, and the mango tree where they married. Many people came to beg. "Edward, help me with school fees." "Anna, please sew me something for free." "We were just joking when we mocked you." They gave. Not everything, but enough. They helped the sick, fed the poor, and cared for Edward's aging parents. Anna even forgave the auntie who treated her badly. One night, while watching stars from their new balcony, Anna said, "Why do you still help them after how they treated us?" Edward smiled. "Because we don't feed people with their past. We feed them with our hearts." One day, a car from TOA drove into the village. It was Sarah. She had heard about the farmer and the diamond. She wanted to sew a special gown for a women's event. Anna welcomed her warmly, and they spoke for hours. "I heard what you did for Madame Lara," Anna said softly. Sarah nodded. "Faith kept me strong." Anna smiled. "Faith kept us alive too." Two women, strangers before, now felt like sisters, tied by pain, strength, and miracles. People in Aruba stopped laughing at poor lovers. They stopped mocking those who were slow or small, because now they believed in the power of waiting, the power of quiet hands, and the treasures hiding beneath dirt. Edward and Anna didn't become kings or queens. They just became a home where dreams could breathe, and where diamonds were not just found in the ground, but also in people. In the far southern part of Nigeria, between thick trees and red soil, sat a sleepy village called Oreo. It was the kind of place where time moved slowly and stories moved faster than people. That year, 5 youth corpers were posted to Oreo for their service year. They were Amara, the confident leader with bright eyes and sharp opinions; James, the tall, funny one who played the guitar; Tina, always writing in her pink diary; Leo, quiet but brave; Bella, curious, soft-spoken but easily influenced. They were all from big cities like Lagos and Abuja. When they arrived in Oreo, they laughed at how quiet everything was. No clubs, no cinemas, no shawarma. The villagers smiled. They had seen many corpers come and go, but they always gave the same warning: "Do not enter the forest behind the village. That is the forbidden forest. Spirits live there. Headless men walk there. Women sing songs at night. No one who enters ever comes out the same." Corpers laughed. "Village stories," Amara said. "They just want to scare us." The forest stood tall and dark just behind the corpers' lodge. From their window, they could see the trees swaying even when there was no wind. Sometimes strange birds flew out with red feathers. Other times there were whispers in the night. Bella once said, "I think I heard a woman singing around 2 a.m. James joked maybe she wants a corper boyfriend. But Leo didn't laugh. "Let's not go near that place. Just in case." Amara rolled her eyes. "You believe in all these ghost stories?" "I believe in respect," Leo replied. "But curiosity is like a wound. When you keep scratching it, it opens." 3 months into their service year, boredom started to grow. Every evening was the same: fetch water, mark attendance at school, and play cards. Amara wanted adventure. "We didn't come here to sleep. Let's do something we'll never forget." Tina shook her head. "Please, I don't want trouble." James smiled. "Let's go hiking. Just small." Amara's eyes lit up. "Let's enter the edge of the forest. We won't go deep. Just touch it and come out." Bella hesitated. "They said it's dangerous." Amara laughed. "It's 2025, not 1825. Spirits don't exist." She looked around. "Or are you all scared?" One by one they nodded, not in fear but in pride. Nobody wanted to look weak. So they planned for the next Saturday. Saturday came. The sun was high. They wore boots, packed water, and carried phones to take videos. Amara led the way with a walking stick she carved herself. "In case we meet a spirit," she joked. They entered the edge of the forest. First it was beautiful. Trees were tall and wide. Birds chirped above. The air was cool. They laughed and took selfies. Then things began to change. The wind stopped. The birds went silent. Trees grew closer together as if trying to trap them. Tina looked around. Guys, it's getting dark. But it's not even 4 p.m., James said. Bella touched Amara's arm. Let's go back. Amara hesitated. Just 5 more minutes. Then they saw the mirror. In the middle of a small clearing stood an old mirror, tall, cracked, and covered in dust. No frame. No sign of how it got there. They stood in front of it. But when they looked inside, nothing looked right. James saw himself smiling, then watched the smile turn upside down. Tina saw a shadow standing beside her. But when she turned, no one was there. Bella's reflection blinked slowly, even though she wasn't blinking. Leo stepped away. We need to go. Suddenly, the ground shook. The mirror cracked loudly. Then from behind the trees came the sound of a woman singing. Soft. Slow. Sad. Come in, come in. I've been waiting. The song grew louder. A thick white fog rolled in from every side. Run! Leo shouted. They turned and ran through the trees, branches scratching their skin. Phones fell. Water bottles flew. Something followed them, soft footsteps and laughter. Bella tripped. Tina helped her up. The forest didn't want them to leave. But somehow they broke through and burst into the village, sweating, shaking, and scratched. The villagers were waiting. You entered, didn't you? One old man said. Amara tried to speak, but no words came out. The village chief looked at them all. Now you must prepare yourselves. The forest has seen you. Later that night, Amara sat in front of the mirror at their lodge. She tried to brush her hair. Then she saw it. A mark on her neck. It looked like a fingerprint. A black one. She touched it. It burned. She didn't tell the others. But each of them found something strange the next day. James's guitar strings snapped on their own. Tina's diary pages tore themselves. Leo saw shadows in the bathroom mirror. Bella started sleepwalking at night. They didn't talk about it. But deep inside they knew. The forest had followed them home. Every night the singing returned. Louder. Closer. Some nights they heard drums from the trees. Other nights a soft knock on the window. Nobody answered. Nobody slept well. Then, on the last week of their service year, Amara stood up during dinner and said, We need to go back. What? Leo said sharply. Are you mad? The forest isn't finished with us, she whispered. We have to finish what we started. Bella began to cry. Tina dropped her spoon. James said, If we go back, we may not return. Amara looked outside the window. I don't think we ever left. Months had passed since Madame Lara's curse was broken. The new Lara's stitches had become the heart of TOA. People came from far away just to watch her and Sarah work side by side. The old strict rule was gone. Now the shop felt like a warm home. But Lara was no longer the same. She no longer rushed. She no longer prayed to speed. She took her time with every stitch, reminding Sarah, real beauty is patient. The gift of the spirit was gone, but Lara didn't miss it. Instead, she had something better, peace. Sarah grew into her own person. She now taught young girls how to sew. She told everyone that kindness and faith could fight any curse. And sometimes at night, when Lara lit her candle, she would whisper a small prayer. Thank you for breaking me. That was how I became whole. In the peaceful village of Aruba, Edward and Anna continued to live quietly, even though they had money. They opened a small sewing school named Hope Threads, where orphan girls like Anna could learn to sew and dream. Edward started a small farm that fed the whole village. He taught boys how to plant and wait. If you dig long enough, you'll find your treasure, he would say with a smile. People stopped calling Anna cursed. In fact, many began to say she had golden hands, not because of magic, but because she touched everything with love. Sometimes they visited Toa to see Sarah and Lara. They would sit under a tree and laugh at how far they had come from dust and hunger. And every year they returned to the mango tree where they married, just to remember. But not all stories ended in smiles. Back in Oreo village, the 5 Corpers were preparing to leave. But something wasn't right. Amara had grown quiet. Her eyes looked older. James no longer played guitar. Tina kept tearing pages from her diary and throwing them into the wind. Leo slept with his Bible under his pillow. Bella was pale and always watching the trees. The forest still called. Every night it sang. You came. You touched. You ran. Return, return, return. On their final evening, they sat in a circle under the moon. Amara stood first. I'm going, she said. The others looked up. No one stopped her. One by one, they stood too. They didn't speak. They just walked toward the edge of the forest, barefoot with only 1 candle each. The villagers watched in silence. No one followed. No one tried to stop them. And when they disappeared into the trees, they were never seen again. An old woman named Mama F, the village oracle, came to the lodge the next morning. She looked at the empty beds and said, They touched what was not meant to be touched. They broke the oldest law, respect the unseen. Sarah, who had come to visit the village with a sewing group, asked, Is there no way to save them? Mama F shook her head. They chose curiosity over caution. And some lessons are learned in silence. Sarah wept. But she knew the truth. Some roads are not meant for feet, only for hearts that know fear and choose wisdom instead. Back in Toa, Lara stitched a wedding gown for a young woman who used to be one of Sarah's sewing students. As she placed the final thread, she looked up and said, Sometimes life tears you apart just to teach you how to sew again. In Aruba, Edward planted a mango seed beside the one they married under. Let's see what grows, he told Anna. And in Oreo, where the forest still whispered, a small sign was placed near the edge of the trees. Do not enter, some stories never end. These stories, of a cursed tailor, a diamond beneath a poor farmer's soil, and 5 proud youth corpers, are different yet the same. They teach us that some gifts come with a cost. A love is louder than shame. Pride opens doors that can never be closed. And the spirit world is not for jokes. But above all, they teach us that faith, humility, and kindness are stronger than magic. And when we walk in wisdom, even the spirits bow.